I'm here with Lucas today. We're at Incredible Tiny Homes. Lucas, he's our expert in just about everything we do around here. Aren't you?
Seen a few things, know a few things because we've seen a few things.
I know it. Well, we're standing in front of a Birmingham in the shade. We're trying to get out of the sun here, but we want to show you we've offered a solar that we've been talking about, a solar package, and we've got probably about 25 or 30 extra solars that we've bunched up, like all this inventory, $3 or $4 million worth of inventory here, and we thought tariffs are coming. You have been talking about it. I want to let everybody know, this is to let you know that you can put solar on a home that's already built that we have not delivered yet. And if you put it on a home that's already been built, there's going to be some added costs. We're going to show you why. But man, tell us about our solar, the comparisons of maybe what it would cost somewhere else, and then we'll show how it looks on a home that's already built.
Sure. Well, first off, what we build as far as the off-grid now, we've went from a 3,000 watt inverter to like a 5,000 watt inverter. Mm-hmm. So the units that like Matt, Jaden, and Jeff's bolting down, they're a lot more power to put out there now, because like that one lady got a full off-grid home and she's running her house and then she's charging her EV car up, and there's a lot going on. And so that inverter's not being, pushed to the limits now. There's a lot more extra flex as far as the wattage output goes. And the difference with that is the cost hasn't changed for customers. And then the Bluetooth, you can plug that in now. That's the only thing we don't install. It's an added gift to the customer. We can help walk you through it. You plug it in, you scan the QR code, and then that way you can see your system running from a distance. So that way you can have peace of mind, whenever you're like, hey, am I about out of power? It's come a blizzard, where am I at? That's a really handy device.
So if you're gone, you want to come home, and you'd want to come home to a charged up battery, you know what you're doing before you get to the house. Well, if you take a home, and I know I've got a little bit off grid on my house now, so if you wanted it to last for days, and I know how you say, I want to run it like the wheels fell off of it or whatever. You want it
like you stole it.
Like you stole it. You're going to have a whole lot of battery bank, right?
Yeah.
And
Sorry, I didn't.
No.
So there's this triangle, okay, and like in electrical, people always talk about the power triangle. Well, in off-grid, there's this triangle too, and you have the usage, you have your battery storage, and you have your photovoltaic power. You've got to try to always find balance between those. Okay. So the sun. Used to do an off-grid construction for a decade. I always went off 6 hours a day. Now I don't do that. I go off 4. That's my
you mean charging your system?
Right. So whatever I want for the entire day, just like mine and my Bitcoin stuff. In 4 hours, I need to produce all the power that I'm going to use for the next 24.
Okay, I got you.
And so then if we take a customer's house and we calculate down the loads, then that gives a realistic expectation that you're going to need this amount of power for this amount of runtime.
Why do you go to 4 hours?
Well, because during the day, you'll get optimal light. But like when the sun rises in the east in the morning, you're going to get, not the most proficient light. But midday, you're going to get this perfect arc.
Right.
It's just bomb.
Okay.
And then in the evening, the light's not that great.
Because our panels are not moving with the sun.
Right. Now, if you have optical tracker on it where it'll follow with it, now that's some big money, but that will give you more time. But realistic ground mounted, whether your panels are ground mounted or whether a customer has them, the guys put them on the roof, that variance point, 4 hours is a safe margin.
Got it.
And then with your battery bank, I always want to have as much battery storage as possible. So like, the way to factor that out is you take the 24 hours worth of power you're going to use, and you're going to say, okay, that's what I'm going to use in 24 hours. Then you want to start figuring, how many days do I want to have? Yeah. And then when you start dividing that down, that starts telling you how many batteries you're going to need because of the amp hour storage.
Perfect. Yeah. And then how do you figure out how much usage? Like, I got a refrigerator and all these electrical things. How do I know? How do I add up all that?
Okay, so like a mini split, you'd say, I'm going to run this 2/3 of the day.
Okay.
And so you say, well, it's 900 watts. Well, then I'm going to figure up, okay, that's 900 watts times, 12, 16 hours a day. We'll just be very conservative. Then you add that up and you're like, okay, well, then I'm going to need like 20 kW.
Where do you get that 900 watts on this thing?
Well, you take the amperage times the voltage.
Where do you find that? Is it on the side of the...
Now the service tag, it may have it on the side. So right here, see, it's 115 volts at 15 amps. But now when it's actually just like running, it's like about 9.
So How do they do that? How would somebody at home know that it's just 9 amps versus 15 it says on there?
Okay, so the easiest way for somebody to calculate that up, if you're not in the industry of doing electrical, is you take, I know this thing is 115 volts, and we're going to times it by the maximum that it's used. The breaker, it's breakered for a 20 amp breaker, but it says that it's 15 amps when it's running.
Yeah.
So it's 1725 watts. Now it's not that much.
Per hour?
Well, now this is a heating and cooling unit.
Right.
So, you know, when it's heating, it uses a lot more. But I think that we figured out over time that when this is running like the cool mode, I think Russell told me it was like around 900 watts to a little over 1,000.
Okay.
But there's that run up, and then there's that just continuous
cycling.
Yeah, the cycling.
Because when it kicks on, it uses more electricity, and then when it gets to that certain level, it gears back down.
Right.
Because I've heard that, you know, a mini split, if it's got a small space, it won't kick out as hard as if it had a great big space, and it kind of has a computer in there that knows not to force everything it needs on.
Sure.
So
it's not like a window unit where it's just all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what makes these super efficient.
Yeah, and another thing too is, you know, having propane is it's like a symbiotic circle with off-grid. Is you got your power and then you got your propane. Because if you have a gas appliances, you have gas, water heated, you have took down and just massively cut your load down.
Yeah.
But the backside of that is if you ever run out of propane, I mean, there's all trade-offs.
I know it. You have to be aware. We've always said if you're off-grid, it takes effort, doesn't it? You have to be on it. You have to be aware. You just can't get in it and drive it like you stole it, because the electric company down there that most people never know how that electricity comes through those wires and gets to the house. You are now aware of your energy consumption on everything that you use, right? And then if you get to the water end of it, you're watching all your water level because you're like, when's it gonna rain next, you know?
Yep, absolutely.
I like doing this stuff. I like being off grid. I'm not completely off grid. I'm getting there. Had more time, I guess I would, you know? Let's show the house and how you retrofitted this existing home with the solar.
Okay, well, the part I did first for Jaden is that now this house didn't have the AC power back here. So I ran them AC feed from the plug all the way back under the house and back up through. So that got added back into the house.
What does that mean, AC?
Well, the customer wanted to have the AC power looped through the house. So I ran them a feed circuit of AC power back here so that they could take it for their off-grid, loop it through the system, and send it back through the house. And so I'll show you in here. The first thing is you've got on retrofits, and sometimes when people want to have the ability to have utility power only or off-grid, you have to have a transfer switch. And right here, this has a main service and it has an off-grid, but neither one can be on at the same time.
Got it.
So the off-grid power is on right now and the main is off.
So it slides together.
And that isolates it, and that also keeps this to electrical code.
Okay.
Because you cannot have two sources on at the same time. It'll be quite the fireworks show. So the power got brought, later you can see outside from the soffit, brought in and around, but the customer's off-grid on-demand water heater, off-grid power, the guy's got it all in his closet for them. And I guess I'll just start right here. So this is the power returning to the service panel. This is the power that I ran in for them from the utility.
Okay.
Now what the customer's gonna do is loop this through. So what Jaden's got on his board here is you've got the service disconnect for AC power coming in, and we ground everything, bond everything, and it's also grounded so that you can ground it outside for your EMP. All right, and then you have the power in your inverter here coming in. Make sure that's turned off and on for you. I turned it off there a minute ago, so that disconnected the feed. And then you have your PV power coming in. That's for charging the inverter.
Now when he says PV, that's your photovoltaic, your solar panels.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and let me just shut this down for a second while we're tinkering with everything. All right, and so the DC this is your DC EMP, so that protects in case of an EMP that would shunt this to a ground, and you can see every single enclosure, everything is grounded and bonded. This is something that nobody else does in the industry.
Really?
You know, when I started that 10 years ago when I was doing off-grid contracting, and then we started doing it here, nobody else does this. And they charge a ton of money for mounting your equipment stuff, and you'll look at a lot of installs, they'll just have stuff slapped to the wall. This actually gets hot, and if it ever overheated or something, got a fire, it could burn your building down. But we've put a metallized cased unit on top of a metallized board to protect you from that. And then the inverter's fused here to the battery bank, so there's a fuse protecting it there. And then these lithium batteries have an internal breaker built into every single module to protect them. And then also this AC power coming in has got a breaker, or it not only is it breaker protected, but it's got an AC EMP protecting it.
Right. I love how you've got a decorative board here that's not just a 2x, it's an actual composite board that makes it look nice, and it's black with the black batteries, and it's just a nice looking system.
Well, I was talking to Tom earlier, and he said that he's going to have Josh build them some nice decorative doors.
Yeah.
And then there'll be 2 vents and then 2 vents so that this can cycle. Because of course, once this thing gets cooled down, climate controlled, etc., you know, it'll be easy in here. And plus, in the wintertime, they can crack the door open and just let that heat the room. Yeah,
sure.
Yes, that'd be a good trade-off right there. Absolutely.
Well, let's go outside and show you where you ran your cables. I know that was a real nice, neat fit, because a lot of times it's hard to retro all this and not see big cables running around the outside of the house and how to feed them up through there. And that's why if somebody wanted this system retroed on an existing home, that's why it's going to be a little bit extra, because we do have some labor involved in getting this together. It's not like being on our assembly line where we got that so down that if we're buying an Incredibox or an RJO, it's just like clockwork.
Sure.
This is a little bit more work, and that's why we have to adjust it on the install.
These homes are kind of like the custom homes that I went out and did installs for people over the years. Like this is the heavy duty stuff. Like this is the serious. Where am I putting wires? I don't want to. You know, you're drilling through floors where stuff's already ran too, and things like that. So there's a lot the guys got to think about and do it right. Because I mean, if I drilled through that floor to run them AC power the other day and hit the propane line, then me and Bubba's tearing out the whole bottom of the house, and it's just one side mission leads to another.
That's right. 5 lithium batteries. How much energy is there, Lucas?
There's 25 kW there, about almost 26.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a lot.
Oh, it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. And I mean,
that's so cool.
You know, the thing about lithium is it has its trade-offs. As long as you have a battery management system that's quality, you know, you can get a long life out of these. I drive my BMW i3, and that thing is 10 years old going on 11, and it still charges all the way to 100% capacity.
Wow.
And you know, those pure lead carbon batteries, you can get 10 years out of them as long as you take good care of them, but you just can't abuse stuff.
Yes.
You know,
and these have to be conditioned. It has to be somewhat cool and warm all the time, where your carbon battery, lead carbon, they're mean. They can
you can just mistreat them all the time. And I do all the time. Buying a crypto, I just bottom them out all the time.
Come on, Ace. Let's go. Alright. It's just a little warm in here. We could run the AC, couldn't we?
Me and Chuck was in this earlier this morning. It was really pleasant, but it's got a little toasty now. You want, buddy?
Well, we got this beautiful Birmingham, and I know that if you can see the roof, we've got the slate roof that's on the gable part of it. And then up on the cupola where it's almost flat, we've got a metal roof up there. And of course, we can't see it right now. How many panels you got up there?
So Jaden's got 4 on this side and then 4 on the other side.
Wow, 8 panels on there. Yeah. So 8 panels times 350 watts each?
Yep, let's see, I'll tell you exact the numbers on that.
Yeah, so you
350 times 8, 2.8 kW.
And that's per hour.
Watts.
So that's 2,800 watts per hour, and you're gonna figure 4 hours a day. So let's just, you know, for adding purposes, 3,000. So 3 times 4 is 12,000. It has maybe the capability of building 12,000 watts per day. Because you're gonna get a little more than 4.
Sure. Yeah, you'll probably get around 15 or 16 kW a day.
And then that battery system, you said was 25 kW?
Right.
So really, day and a half, 2 days, you got that whole system. If it was dead, it'd come right back to life.
Sure.
on what we can get on them 8 panels, right?
And they can plug up if they needed to a generator, and that'll bypass and go straight through the system too.
Got that option too, don't they?
Yeah.
So do you guys understand? So, but if a panel is 350 watts times 8, which is 2,800, and we'll round it off at 3 because we're going to get more than 4 hours a day, times 4. So that's 3 times 4 is 12,000. He said, like I said, it's a beautiful day.
Yeah,
But
it's going to be a long day. So, I mean, you're
Yeah.
talking, it's going to be like 16 hours of daylight. We're probably at least going to get 6 or 7 good hours.
Yeah, so you know, but if you wanted the worst case scenario, 4 hours a day, 12,000, you got 25,000 banks, so you know 12 plus 12 is 24. You almost got charged up your entire 5 batteries of charge again. And you're not gonna use that in a day, you know? I mean, like I said, unless they got electric stove, electric, everything in there, but if they supplement with gas, so your usage may even be down to 3 or 4 kilowatts a day, and then you've got maybe a week's supply of power if it never comes out again, right?
This house here, I mean, besides the mini splits and the refrigerator, the rest of the stuff pretty much propane, and they have
Yeah.
LED lights. So
Hey, if that mini split, you said 900 kilowatts a day,
900 watts an hour.
an hour, and let's say it ran, what, 8 hours off and on, off and on, off and on all day. So it'd be 7,200, 7,000
Yeah, you'd be around 7 kW used out of that.
out of that, and they've got 25 kW in the bank. So even if you use 10,000 kilowatts, you're not even using half of what they've got in the storage, and it's running constantly.
Yeah.
Because I know a mini split, it doesn't run 100% of the time. It cycles all the time.
No, and I mean, even there's this window unit. It's really weird. It looks like a horseshoe.
Okay.
That I bought, and the most of the unit is on this side of the window, and the compressor part is on the hoop on the outside.
Yeah.
And those don't even really use a lot of power.
Okay.
There's a lot of options that people can use now, because I mean, like they can get that and put that in one of the 8x24s if they
Yeah.
wanted to. And the part that hangs out the window is very, very minimal.
Small.
And so, I mean, there's a lot of air conditioning options out there now
Yeah.
that are low draw. You know.
Well, everybody, just want to make sure if you got a question on the solar and you're interested in retrofitting your solar on any home that we've already built, or if you're on the line coming up and we're getting ready to build your home, it's a $7,500 for 4 panels, 1 lithium battery, a 5,000 kilowatt inverter charge controller, installed, ready to leave out of here. So give us a call.
And the 30% tax credit.
And there's a 30% tax credit on top, so 30% of what you spent. So 30% of 7,500 really is just a write-off of your earned income on your tax returns.
Correct. Yeah, the EV use tax credit and the 30% federal credit as far as the off-grid, both of them, whatever you owe at the end of the year, that part gets graced off if you owe it.
Takes
So,
your earned income down. Good. Thank you all for watching. I'm Randy Jones with Incredible Tiny Homes, and subscribe, thumbs up, and give us a call. Thank you.